You may have heard that a young man named Abner Doubleday invented the game known as baseball in Cooperstown, New York. It was invented during the summer of 1839. Doubleday then went on to become a great Civil War hero, while baseball became America's beloved national pastime. Although baseball originated before the Civil War as a game called rounders, a humble game played on sandlots, early champions of the game fine-tuned it to include the kind of skills and mental judgment that made cricket respectable in England. There were 20 original rules of baseball, which were not very specific at the time. Then the Baseball Convention of 1857, held in New York on January 22nd by former Knickerbocker president Daniel Doc Adams, really made it the first convention of its kind. Over a dozen clubs sent delegates to the meetings. During this convention, Adams was elected president of the convention and headed the Committee on Rules and Regulations. This is where the most current rules came about. As the game gained interest, the move toward professionalism produced the first openly professional club, the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings. All the clubs that followed after that during that time era followed the same uniform design, just with a different emblem on the jersey to distinguish where they came from and which players were on different teams. In previous years, many teams secretly paid players. There were rumors of fixed games, and the fans wagering before and during matches eventually won out over the gentleman's club theory. As a result, the National Association of Professional Baseball Players was formed on March 17, 1871 in New York City. Only 3 of the original 9 teams would last: the Boston Red Stockings, New York Mutuals, and Philadelphia Athletics. Then came the birth of the National League. On February 2, 1876, William Hulbert, the president of Chicago White Stockings, who competed in the final 2 National Association seasons, spearheaded a meeting in New York City to organize a new, more stable league. The National League was born and has been active ever since. The charter member teams were the Boston Red Caps, Chicago White Stockings, Cincinnati Red Stockings, Hartford Dark Blues, Louisville Grays, New York Mutuals, Philadelphia Athletics, and St. Louis Brown Stockings. Over the years, the actual baseball has taken two mainly different makeups. Abner Doubleday most likely used this one when he first invented the game in 1839. And then, once an actual team was invented, they updated the version to include stitching, which made it more stable. Once an actual association was formed, they redid the stitching on it, and it has become the most common use ever since. It has mainly just been updated throughout the years that we have played the big game of baseball. From personal history, I started playing the game at the age of 4, and it was life all through high school. As I grew older, I was learning the fundamentals and what everything means. I quickly figured out that it was more of a mental game than a physical one. Once high school ball started, it was clear what they meant by how baseball was 90% mental and 10% physical. You are constantly asking yourself what it is you should be doing in every type of scenario, and asking the main question is, especially on defense, where am I going if the ball comes to me? Realizing how mental the game is helped my team win state. It was clear the teams that we were beating had a higher skill level than us, but they were simply outsmarted by us. That season, when we went all the way, we had to mainly thank it to our mental stability and how often we had to outsmart the other team. As I grew up, I was falling more in love with the game, which made me a life fan by the age of 10. Even though I struggled with school and learning new things about baseball had made me love it even more. Understanding how the game is played and the basic concepts of it can help people love it and enjoy it to its full potential. Just like most sports, there is an offense and a defense. On the offensive side of the game, there are 2 types of players, the hitter and the base runner. Once a hitter makes contact with the ball and gets a hit, he becomes a base runner and must safely reach each base in succession. The ultimate goal of each offensive player is to make his way around the bases and cross home plate, thereby scoring a run. When a hitter is at the plate, he is considered to be at-bat. During an at-bat, the pitcher of the opposing team throws the ball to the catcher, and the hitter tries to hit the ball with the bat before it reaches the catcher. Each ball is called a pitch. Each ball thrown is called a pitch. A pitch can be either a ball or a strike. For a pitch to be considered a strike, it must cross over the plate between the batter's armpits and knees. The base runner has the option of stealing a base or advancing to the next base even if the ball hasn't been hit into fair play. If the runner decides to steal a base, the defense has the option of tagging the runner out before the runner reaches the desired base. In defense, there are 9 fielders, and all the fielders work together to prevent the batters and the base runners of the opposing team from getting hits and scoring runs. An out is recorded when a fielder catches a ball, tags a base runner with the ball, or grabs the ball and steps on the base a runner is trying to reach before the runner reaches it. Outs are also recorded when a hitter strikes out. A hitter strikes out once 3 consecutive strikes are thrown between the batter's armpits and knees. Once 3 outs are recorded, a half inning is finished. Then it's the defensive team's turn to go on offense. The pitcher and the catcher must work as a team and try to strike the batter out. The catcher will give the pitcher signs for different pitches in an attempt to make the batter have less of a chance of getting on base. Other important aspects of the games are the coaches. Each team will have a head coach that makes most of the decisions on the team as to who bats and who plays what position. On the offensive side, the team has 2 base coaches, a third base and a first base coach, which help guide the runners and the batters while running on base and if the batter should hit or not. The third base coach is often the one giving signs to the batter and runner to try and fool the defense. Umpires officiate the game and make the decisions between strikes, balls, outs, and other aspects and all other aspects. And in the end, they have the final say. In conclusion, the offense is the team that bats and runs around the bases attempting to score, while a defense is the team on the field that tries to get 3 outs and prevent the other team from scoring a run. And in the end, just understanding how the game is played and the basic concepts of it can help people love it more and enjoy it to its full potential.